Hi everybody, it's Diana with Stamping with Di. Welcome to my YouTube channel and this week's Teach Me Tuesdays episode 312. And I'm going to play today with the Soft Pastels Assortment. And then I wrote the number here because I've had mine for a while and the number on the box isn't the right number anymore. So I just wrote the number on the front of the box. But so I'm going to play with these a little bit. Today I was watching a video and the person was using like chalk paint, like it's like a powder, and then they were mixing with water and it was turning into paint. And in my head I'm thinking, well, these pastels are kind of like a chalk. So I was like going, okay, what if I try to make my own kind of chalk paint? So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do today. So we're going to, I should put my little scientist hat on and see how it goes. But so anyway, so if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Diana and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm in Santan Valley, Arizona. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to play with the Soft Pastels Assortment and see how this works out. So if you are new, I'm in the chat room, you know, during the video premiere. And so you want to head over there. I'll be there with my friends. But if you are watching the replay and you have a question or a comment, leave it below and then YouTube lets me know so I can reach out to you. So yeah, so I'm just going to play with this. I'm not going to make anything with the stuff I'm doing. And then Friday for my dies shorts, I'll show you finished projects using the pieces. So I kind of like doing that. I've done that the last couple weeks. Kind of like teach you something and then show you finished projects on Friday for the dies shorts. So hopefully that's okay. So instead of me keep blabbing, let's figure this out. All right, so close your eyes for a second while I get my camera adjusted. So these are what I'm talking about. So these are the Soft Pastels Assortment. And does it say what color? Yes. Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. Now, that being said, you know, some of these colors are gone. So that could be why my number's off. If these colors are a little bit different now. And but anyways, these are what I have. So we're just going to we're going to play with these. So I have a little paint palette. And I'm going to take, I just have a knife. And I have some cheapy little paint brushes. I have some water. And I want to make it like a paint. So I think if I just do water, I'm thinking like when it dries, it might not stay. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the Whisper White. This is the refill that goes in the Whisper White pad. I need to change my brightness a little bit. It's a little bit too bright. And this is kind of like a paint. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So we are going to experiment. So so this is the Coastal Cabana. And I'm just going to take my knife and I'm just going to trim. Now I've been using other colors, so might have a little red in there. All right, so I'm just going to trim off. I'm just scraping this into this little hole that paint would go into. It's going kind of everywhere, but I'm trying to get it back in there. All right. All right, so I think that's enough of that one. All right. And then I'm going to skip one because this one has a little bit of blue in it. So then I'm going to take the green and do the same thing. So I'm just going to scrape that in there. Now you don't have to do this with these. I mean, you can, let me get a little piece of paper. Like you can simply color with them. But like I said, we're going to play a little bit today and we're going to try to do something else with them. All right. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to scrape some of the green, and you want quite a bit in there. All right. And I can always add more. All right. And then let's see here. Let's try red. So again, I'm going to kind of skip a little bit. So now we have the red. It reminds me of when I used to watch Survivor and they'd be trying to make fire. That's what this is kind of reminding me of. So I'm just, kind of doing like little scratches so I don't flick it all over, but meanwhile I flicked it all over. Okay. So that's that. And then let's try one more color. Let's try this really pretty blue. So there's like a dark blue. So I'm just trying to make little tiny cuts or whatever I'm doing here. I guess I'm kind of cutting that so it doesn't flick it too bad. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of water. So I want a little water in each one. And I also want a drop of the white craft. So I'm just going to put a little drop. Little drop. So I'm just doing that to each one. And this will lighten that up, but then I think it's just going to make it be more permanent. All right. And then I just had, like I said, I had these little cheapy paint brushes, and I'm just going to stir that up. And then we can see if we need to add more of the pastels or not. So that looks pretty good to start out with. So that's the blue brush. All right, let's do the red. So depending on how much pastel you put in there, we'll see how dark it's going to be, right? So we could, add more if we want it to be a little darker. Okay, this is the red brush. And then we did the green. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush this on some different colors of cardstock so we can see how it looks. There's the green one. And then here's the Coastal Cabana. And this one is a little thick. I think I did more chalk for this one. So I'm going to put a little more water. There we go. Not a whole lot. Doesn't take much. just so that's a little more soupy. Okay. Now, let's bring over some different colors of cardstock. And we're just going to try these colors and see how it goes. All right, so we have black, we have Secret Sea, we have Lemon Lime Twist. Let me move this over here a little bit. We have Garden Green. Excuse me. We have Blackberry Bliss, Berry Burst. I think that's what it's called. And then Basic White. So I'm just going to leave these. I probably could have cut them a little smaller, but that's all right. And I'm just going to add the color to each of these cardstocks just to see how it looks. All right, so the first one is this Coastal Cabana. And I'm just going to use this like a paint. So here it is on the basic white. Here it is on Blackberry. Here it is on basic black. So you really see it on the darker colors. And then the lemon lime. And it's cool how it looks different depending on the cardstock, right? Because that cardstock color is kind of coming through it. And then here is the berry burst. So even though it's the same color, you know, it kind of changes a little bit, you know, depending on. Now this looks really yellow in my camera, but it's the lemon lime twist. So that's kind of cool, right? All right. Can go over it a little bit. All right, so that was the Coastal Cabana. All right, so let's find our green brush. And I'm just going to do that to each one of the colors. I'm going to do it on the white first, because then I'll kind of see if I need to add more of the pastel. So that's kind of cool. And then here it is on Blackberry, Basic Black, Secret Sea, Lemon Lime Twist. Now, you don't see it as much on the Lemon Lime Twist because it's kind of like green on green, right? So there, since that's a little darker. And then here it will be on the berry. So that's kind of cool. I like the opaque, is that a word? Opaqueness of it. Right. Let's see. Now I have this red. Now the red looks not as red as you think because we have that white in there, right? And if I wanted to be more red, I would just add more of the red pastels. All right, so let's do it on the white. Ooh, so it really looks like a dark red. There, it's on there. It almost has a orangey kind of look to it. But I really like how it looks on the darker cardstock. Because you think, you know, we don't usually color on colored cardstock, you know, because it's dark, you know, especially. All right, so that looks kind of cool. I'm just like spreading that out a little bit so it dries a little faster. All right, so there's that on there. And then we'll do this blue, which almost looks like Highland hue with that white mix to it. All right, so here it's there. Oh, I like that one. Oh, that's a beautiful purpley Highlandish color. And then on the lemon lime. And then on that berry. So that is kind of cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more of the red just to see if we can get it, because this isn't a true red, right? This is Poppy Parade. So it's not like a real red, right? So Poppy Parade is like brighter, kind of an orangey, which is really coming across in here. So let's just see if we add a little more, if we can get it a little darker. I love experimenting with things. Okay, let's see. So I need to find my red brush. And then we'll stir that up. So it does look a little darker. So let's do it on here next to this one and just see. So not tons, not tons. I think I would have to add quite a bit more in order for it to be, you know, way brighter. I mean, it's a little bit, you know, redder, but let's see it on here. It just makes it a little bit more opaque. But this is really, really kind of cool. I love how these, I mean, I especially like it on the really dark. Like this is kind of cool, you know, on that Berry Burst. I like it on the Blackberry Bliss. You know, that's kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of it on the Lemon Lime Twist. But I really, now I don't mind it on the Garden Green, but I really am loving the look of it on these really, really dark ones. And I think it's because you can really see the color, you know, because, you know, these pastel. Now, if you just colored it, you know, this is me just coloring it like normal, you know, you can see it on there. I mean, they're a little messy on my baby wipes, but it comes off pretty easy. But anyways, I'm really kind of thinking this is kind of cool. So anyways, so let me say, see you later, alligator. So what do you think? Have you played with the pastels? Because I've only played with them like the way you're supposed to play with them, right? And then I'm gonna get the catalog for a second. Okay, so I looked in the catalog and they have changed. So for mine had that Mango Melody. So they have switched out the Mango Melody with a Flirty Flamingo. So that's why my number was a little bit different. Now me personally, I'm not going to order a whole new packet of them, just, you know, to change out that one. But if you haven't ordered these yet, yours would have a Flirty Flamingo. So anyways, so yeah, so I am going to play around with this because it is very cool. And then Friday for my dies shorts, I will come back and I'll show you what I did with this really cool technique. I don't even know what to call it. It's using these pastels and soft pastel paint. I don't know. I really don't know. We're just gonna call it playing with the soft pastels. How's that? All right, so I'm gonna say see you later, alligator, and I will see you Friday for my dies shorts. That'll be 3 o'clock. Arizona time, same times channel, the same time, same channel. And I will show you what I did with these. So it'll give me a couple days to play around. All right. So I will see you then. Have a great week. And I'll see you Friday. All right. Bye for now.